What's going on, everybody? Nick Costa here, and welcome to this video lesson on the 9-stroke roll. This is rudiment number 10 from the Percussive Art Society's 40 Essential Rudiments. If you have been following the Drum Essential series at nickcostamusic.com, this is video number 14. So in this lesson, you are going to learn how to play the 9-stroke roll. You will then play through a few different exercises that allow you to incorporate it into your playing. And finally, you will see some examples on how to execute it as part of a groove or a fill on the drum kit. I'm excited to get into this with all of you, so let's get started. Now, if you have been following the Drum Essential series at nickcostamusic.com, you've already watched the video on both the 5 and the 7-stroke roll. You know that a 5-stroke roll is 2 sets of doubles followed by a tap. Add an additional double and you now have a 7-stroke roll. Add one more double, so you now have 4 sets of doubles and a tap, and you have a 9-stroke roll. So in order to play a right-handed 9-stroke roll, you have right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right-handed tap. To play a left-handed 9-stroke roll, you have left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, left-handed tap. So to get started with the 9-stroke roll, you are going to play it in an 8th note subdivision. For the first measure, you're going to play right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left. That right-handed tap at the end of the roll is going to be beat 1 of the second measure. You will then rest for beats 2, 3, and 4 of that second measure. Third measure, you're going to start left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right, with that left-handed tap being beat 1 of the 4th measure. Again, resting for beats 2, 3, and 4 of that 4th measure. Going to turn the click on at 80 BPM. Play along with me. 1, 2, ready, and... Now for exercise number 2, you are going to play the 9-stroke roll in a 16th note subdivision. So for the first measure, you are going to play a right-handed 9-stroke roll. Your doubles are going to be the 16th notes for beats 1 and 2, and that right-handed tap is beat 3. You will then rest on beat number 4. The second measure, you are playing a left-handed 9-stroke roll, so again, you're going to play the doubles for the 16th notes on beats 1 and 2, and that left-handed tap at the end is beat number 3. You will then rest for beat number 4. As you're playing through this exercise, try to accent the last note of the roll. Going to turn the click back on. Play along with me. 1, 2, ready, and... Now for exercise number 3, you are going to play the 9-stroke roll in the subdivision from the Percussive Art Society. That means that you are going to play the doubles through the first beat. The tap at the end of the roll is the second beat. So for this first measure, you are going to play a right-handed 9-stroke roll starting on beat 1. That right-handed tap at the end falls on beat 2, and you are going to rest for beats 3 and 4. The second measure, you are going to play a left-handed 9-stroke roll starting on beat 1, and again, that left-handed tap falls on beat 2. You will then again rest for beats 3 and 4. I'm going to turn the click back on. Play along with me. 1, 2, ready, and... Now for exercise number 4, you are going to play 2 9-stroke rolls in a row. This first measure, you will play a right-handed 9-stroke roll, followed by a left-handed 9-stroke roll. You will then rest for the second measure. The third measure, you're going to play a left-handed 9-stroke roll, followed by a right-handed 9-stroke roll. Again, you are going to rest for the 4th measure. Clicks going back on? Give it a shot. 1, 2, ready, and... Now for exercise number 5, you are going to play 5 9-stroke rolls in a row. You are going to alternate back and forth between a right and left-handed 9-stroke roll. So for this first measure, you're going to play a 9-stroke roll starting on beat 1. You will then play a left-handed 9-stroke roll starting on the end of beat 2. You will then play a right-handed 9-stroke roll starting on beat 4. The second measure, you're going to play a left-handed roll starting on the end of beat 1. And a right-handed 9-stroke roll starting on beat 3. You are then going to have an 8th note rest on the end of beat 4. For the third measure, you're going to start out with a left-handed 9-stroke roll on beat 1, followed by a right-handed 9-stroke roll on the end of beat 2. You are then going to play a left-handed 9-stroke roll starting on beat 4, and a right-handed 9-stroke roll starting on the end of beat 1. You will then play a left-handed 9-stroke roll starting on beat 3, and have an 8th note rest on the end of beat 4. I'm going to turn the click back on. Play along with me. 1, 2, ready, and... Now that you've played through a few exercises to get more comfortable with the 9-stroke roll, this is a perfect time in the lesson to pause the video and really work on getting that 9-stroke roll consistent. Again, like all of the other rolls, you want to make sure your doubles are nice and open rather than crushed. You also want to make sure that that last note of your 9-stroke roll is accented. So pause the video here, work on that 9-stroke roll, make sure that you're staying nice and relaxed, your doubles are open, and that you are accenting that final note. Once you get all of that down, hit continue. All right, welcome back. It is time to put that 9-stroke roll into context. So for exercise number 6, you are playing the rhythm of 1, 2, 3, and 4. So for the first measure, you're playing a right-handed 9-stroke roll starting on beat 1. That means that that right-handed tap is beat number 2. Starting with your left hand, you are then going to alternate your hands for the 16th note, 8th note rhythm on beat 3, followed by a right-handed tap on beat 4. The second measure, you are starting with a left-handed 9-stroke roll on beat 1. Again, that means that left-handed tap is beat number 2. Starting with your right hand, you are going to alternate for the 16th note, 8th note pattern on beat 3, followed by a left-handed tap on beat 4. I'm going to turn the click on, play along with me. 1, 2, ready, and... Now for exercise number 7, you are playing the rhythm of 1E and a 2, 3 and 4 and a. Starting with your right hand, you are going to alternate for those 16th notes on beat 1. You are then going to play a right-handed 9-stroke roll starting on beat 2. Starting with that right-handed tap on beat 3, you are going to alternate your hands for the remainder of the measure. For the second measure, you are going to start with your left hand and alternate for those 16th notes on beat 1. You are then going to play a left-handed 9-stroke roll starting on beat 2. And starting with that left-handed tap on beat 3, you're going to alternate your hands for the remainder of the measure. Let's turn the click back on, play along with me. 1, 2, ready, and... Now for exercise 8, you are playing a 2-bar loop. The rhythm that you are playing is 1E and a 2, 3E and a 4, 1E and a 2, 3E and a 4E end. Starting with your right hand, you are going to alternate for those 16th notes on beat 1. You are then going to play a 9-stroke roll starting on beat 2. Continue to alternate your hands for the 16th notes on beat 3 and play another 9-stroke roll starting on beat 4. Starting with your right hand, you're going to alternate again for the 16th notes on beat 1 of the second measure. You're going to play another right-handed 9-stroke roll on beat beat 2, and then starting with your right hand, continue to alternate for the remainder of the second measure. Now for the third measure, you're going to start with your left hand and alternate for those 16th notes on beat 1. You're then going to play a left-handed 9-stroke roll on beat 2. Starting with your left hand, you're going to continue to alternate for the 16th notes on beat 3. You're going to play another left-handed 9-stroke roll on beat 4. Starting with your left hand, continue to alternate for those 16th notes on beat 1. Play another left-handed 9-stroke roll on beat 2. And then again, starting with your left hand, continue to alternate for the remainder of that fourth measure. Here we go. Clicks going back on. Play along with me. 1, 2, ready, and... Now that you've had a chance to play through those 8 exercises, it is time for the challenge. Just like every other challenge, you now get to continue to work on this rudiment plus some additional rudiments that were covered in other videos from the Essential series. You're also going to be playing a specific rhythm starting with both your right and your left hand. For this challenge, you have 12 measures. So for the first 2 measures, you are playing the rhythm of 1, 2, and 3, and a 4E and a. With this first measure, you are going to play a 9-stroke roll starting on beat 1. You're then going to play a left-handed 5-stroke roll starting on the end of beat 2. You're then going to play a right-handed double paradiddle starting on the end of beat 3. For the second measure, you're going to play a left-handed 9-stroke roll starting on beat 1, followed by a right-handed 5-stroke roll on the end of beat 2. You are then going to play a left-handed double paradiddle starting on the end of beat 3. Here's what those 2 measures sound like together. 1, 2, and 3, and a 4E and a. 1, 2, and 3, and a 4E and a. For measures 3 through 6, you are playing a 2-bar loop. That rhythm that you are playing is 1, 2, and a 3E and 1E and a 2, 3, and a 4E and a. That means that you are going to play a 9-stroke roll starting on beat 1 of the third measure. You're then going to play a left-handed single paradiddle starting on the end of beat 2. You're then going to play a right-handed 9-stroke roll starting on the end of beat 3. You're going to play a left-handed single paradiddle starting on beat 1 of the fourth measure, and a right-handed 9-stroke roll starting on beat 2. You are then going to play a left-handed paradiddle diddle starting on the end of beat 3. Now the next 2 measures, it's the same rhythm, but you're starting with your left hand. That means a left-handed 9-stroke roll on beat 1, a right-handed single paradiddle on the end of beat 2. A left-handed 9-stroke roll starting on the end of beat 3. A right-handed single paradiddle on beat 1, followed by a left-handed 9-stroke roll starting on beat 2. You are then going to play a right-handed paradiddle diddle starting on the end of beat 3. Here's what those 4 measures sound like together. 1, 2, and a 3E and 1E and a 2, 3, and a 4E and a 1, 2, and a 3E and 1E and a 2, 3, and a 4E and a. Now for the next 2 measures, you're playing a pretty interesting syncopated rhythm. The rhythm goes 1, 2, and E, So that means you are playing a right-handed 9-stroke roll starting on beat 1. You're then going to play a right-handed 7-stroke roll starting on the end of beat 2. You're then going to play another right-handed 9-stroke roll starting on the of beat 3. The next measure is the same thing, but starting with your left hand. So a left-handed 9-stroke roll starting on beat 1, a left-handed 7-stroke roll starting on the end of beat 2, and another left-handed 9-stroke roll starting on the of beat 3. Here's what those 2 measures sound like together. 1, 2, and E, 1, 2, and E, Now for measures 9 through 12, you are playing another 2-bar loop. The rhythm that you are playing is 1, 2, and 4. 1 and a 2E and a 3, 4. That means you're starting out with a right-handed 9-stroke roll on beat 1. You're then going to play a left-handed 9-stroke roll starting on the end of beat 2. You're then going to play another right-handed 9-stroke roll starting on beat 4. That means the right-hand tap of that last 9-stroke roll is your beat 1 of measure 10. You're then going to play a left-handed double paradiddle starting on the end of beat 1, followed by a right-handed 9-stroke roll starting on beat 3. Now measure 11, you're starting out with a left-handed 9-stroke roll on beat 1. You're then going to play a right-handed 9-stroke roll starting on the end of beat 2 and a left-handed 9-stroke roll starting on beat 4. Again, that left-handed tap of the end of that last 9-stroke roll is beat 1 of your 12th measure. Play a right-handed double paradiddle starting on the end of beat 1, followed by a left-handed 9-stroke roll starting on beat 3. Here's what those 4 measures sound like together. 1, 2, and 4. 1 and a 2 E and a 3, 4. 1, 2, and 4. 1 and a 2 E and a 3, 4. So now that you've had a chance to go through all of the sections, it's time to piece it all together. But this is a challenge, right? So let's up that metronome to 110 BPM and give it a shot. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, and... So now that you've had a chance to play through all of the exercises and the challenge, let's talk about ways to incorporate the 9-stroke roll as part of your groove or a fill here on the drum kit. This is the part of the lesson where you get to work on your improvisational and musicianship skills. Now, although I want you to come up with your own variations, here are just a few to get you started. So to recap, in this lesson, you learned how to play the 9-stroke roll. You then played through a few different exercises to incorporate it into your playing. And finally, you saw some examples on how to incorporate it as part of a groove or a fill here on the drum kit. As always, if you have any questions, reach out to me at nickcostamusic.com and I'll try and help out in any way that I can. If you enjoyed this lesson, make sure you check out the Drum Essentials series at nickcostamusic.com, where you will see lessons just like it on all 40 rudiments from the Percussive Arts Society. You'll also see some lessons on technique fundamentals and drum set fundamentals. And that is it. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Hopefully you've learned something from it, and until next time, see you later.